Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today is story time day. Usually like every year I like to do like a little recap of my dating life just because it's entertaining and it's kind of pathetic. It's a little bit sad, but that's okay. I mean, I can laugh about it and it's my life, so it's like, whatever. Yeah, so instead of doing like my current dating life, because there is none really, I'm gonna do a full year recap of my dating life and kind of do it where I left off in my last video. I did a video last year called My Current Dating Life where I was talking about some of the relationships that I was, kind of getting into. Well, not even like relationships, but just like more dealings than anything. Let me fix this. Okay. Alright. Let's be real, guys. It's been a while since I've done a story time, so why not talk about it? Okay, so I don't know if you guys follow me on my vlog channel, but it's Chinyere's Lit Life. I will put a little link here. I'll put the link. It's always in the description bar, and if you guys want to see more of me, that's why I post a lot of videos. I vlog almost every single day. And they're pretty raw. Like, I really do try to capture things as they're happening in the moment. But when you're in the moment, you're not really thinking about where's the camera. You're just trying to like live your life. So it's a very, where every time I start filming, people start texting me. Like, no joke, I've been getting ready for hours now. Well, not getting ready, but I've been doing other stuff all day. Nobody has texted me. But now that I'm filming, it's teamwork. I'm over here sexting my ex. We're terrible. Okay, yeah, so I have this vlog channel that I've had since like 2010, but back then I was just kind of like posting things randomly. I had got this camera, but whatever. So the whole point is that go subscribe to my vlog channel. People are always saying, oh my gosh, you never post. I do post, but I post on there. So all of you guys that are watching this, stop right now, pause, and go subscribe to Chinyere's Lit Life. And don't be offended if it's not super lit. Lit is just like a fun term, okay? It's really like Chinyere's Sit Life, because I do a bunch of sitting. Woo! Gotta write that one down. So let's get started, but of course with the disclaimer. Alright, I don't want you guys getting super defensive about my dating life. I remember when I posted that video last year, it was a bunch of women who were just like, oh my gosh, you hate yourself. You're so beautiful. Why do you treat yourself this way? I'll be like in the video, yeah, we went on like 1 or 2 dates and I wasn't really feeling them. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, you're still seeing that guy? Oh my god, how could you do that? How could you? Don't you just have such low self-esteem? I don't want to see none of that bullshit, okay? First of all, you have to go on a few dates to get to know the person. What if the guy literally judged me and just was like, fuck it, her wig was kind of sliding, so I'm just not really interested. Like, what if a guy did that to me? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta go on a few dates to get to know the person if you see some potential. I may have saw some potential in the guy, but then they started acting like an asshole, so I was like, okay, let's keep it pushing. Like, next, I don't dwell on things like that. Like, I am really the keep it pushing bitch. Like, I am really the keep it pushing pusher. I push. I'm a not a drug pusher, but I'm a pusher, a relationship pusher, because I push them. I push them out the way. Like, I keep on pushing. See what I'm saying? My neighbor's next door. I don't know. Can you guys hear that? They have their family over and they are playing that music. I live next to 2 Spanish women. What are the fucking chances? Downtown Austin, 2 Spanish. Oh, that makes sense. I do live in the old Spanish neighborhood. Okay. So, you know what? Let's start off from last year. We'll do that. We'll start from last year at the end, okay? Alright, so if you guys have been following me for a while, you remember that I had this old roommate. And she was an older woman, and she was an asshole. She was this older Nigerian woman. And I really needed a place quick in Austin. And she was so nice. She was really, really nice to let me stay there. I was like not even paying her that much, honestly. She was like, okay, just pay until you can get to where you need to go. I was in a really bad car note, blah, blah. Anyway, I was living with her. So one day, she told me, oh, my brother's going to be visiting. And I already knew that I was going to end up sleeping with her brother. Because that's life. Like, that's just how it is. That's just what happens, okay? I don't care what none of you guys say. If he's okay, it just happens, right? He came to visit. And she made it sound like he was like super cute. he was really nice, blah, blah, blah. She was like, oh, he has this really good job. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. I saw him, and he was my height. He was like 5'8". She was like, oh, he's in the military. So I'm thinking maybe he works out. He does work out, but he was like skinny. And I don't know why, but skinny dudes are always trying to talk to me. I guess they want something they can grab. Whatever it is. So one night, me and him, we ended up going out to 6th Street. Now, she lived in Round Rock, so me and him, you know, he took me out. We had drinks, and then we went to IHOP afterwards, and we didn't get home till like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I mean, that was cool. It was just like, oh, okay, you know, he's cool. He was kind of stiff. But a lot of times whenever I meet Nigerian guys, like, they typically are, oh, and he was Nigerian. But he had been living in Germany for like 2 years because of the military or something. But yeah, he was moving back to Texas because he was moving to El Paso. Now, I didn't really think he was. He had to have like eye surgery or something like that. Anyway, me and him, we kept in contact for about I don't know, for about, I would have to say like 8 months. We talked on the phone and stuff like that. And we didn't do anything or whatever, but we were just talking. It was cool. Like, it was cool. Now, me, if I'm not like, I liked him, but I always have this thing that's just like, you know, something's not right. So I can never get like mentally really attached to somebody if I have that irk. And I do listen to that irk. But I am a girl of needs, and I love sex. So what? So when we were talking, I was like, okay, I know I'm never gonna like really be with him because I don't know what it was, like I wasn't really like attracted to him. It's not that he wasn't attractive, but maybe it's not like the white girls in Germany he was like real attractive, but to me I was just like, okay, niggas like you're like a dime a dozen. I'm just being honest here. So I just wasn't really all that crazy about him. And so I went but okay, to be honest with you, he did say that the white girls were crazy about him in Germany. So I'm not just throwing it out there. Like, and you know what? There are a lot of men on base there, so it's not like super like uncommon. So whatever. So one day, I was like kind of getting bored of just talking. He had made it back to El Paso. He had been there for about a month and a half, and he, you know, we had already told each other we need to see each other, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm already thinking that he just wants sex, which was perfect for me because that was really like all I wanted. I really, like I said, didn't really see anything with him. Whatever. Say what you want, say what you think. I know people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I wish this girl would just stop giving up her body. I'm not. And I haven't. And I won't. So we ended up planning to go to, like, meet each other halfway. There was no way I was driving 14 hours to El Paso. And a flight was like $600. Wait, what was it? I remember it was kind of, it was like, we had planned this like 2 weeks out. Our flight was like $800 round trip. And I thought that was kind of pricey for that, you know, a 14-hour drive. But I guess, you know, whatever. So then we were like, oh, we'll just meet each other halfway. He'll do 8, I'll do 6 hours. So we ended up, and honestly, I really didn't even want to do that, but I was thinking to myself, like, this could be a road trip. This could be something for me to do. Like, I really wasn't doing much at the time. I was working, but I was living out in the country, and I spent a lot of my time in my car anyway. And, you know, I would go through Houston, so I would go do a couple things there, then go through whatever, you know, it was just more like that. That's what I was thinking it of. So it really wasn't that big a deal for me. And plus, if this is some potential good dick, I could really, you know, I can make something out of this, you know? I can make this work. So he was stationed in El Paso, but he was working on moving to Fort Hood, which would be only like 30-40 minutes to Austin. So that's why it had good dick potential, okay? Anyway, we ended up planning it out. We met up in Sonora. Was it Sonora, Texas? I don't even remember, but it was like an in-between town that you just stop for gas or Sonic, and then you keep going. We got there, and I was just kind of like, you know, but obviously people lived there. They had like neighborhoods in the school, but I was just kind of like, you know, and then he had got like this motel. It was a nice motel, though. It was actually really nice. Like, it was like a step. But it was just kind of what I expected out of him. It was just kind of like, because me and him, we had already talked, and we had looked at it and at the site, and I was like, I just wasn't all that excited. Like, I had already started to, like, lose, like, excitement for it, I kept thinking to myself, like, man, I could really be eating like a cheeseburger or something. I just kind of didn't care no more when the day came. But that's just how I am. I always make plans and then I just get super uninterested. Like, you could be telling me that we're going to Thailand for 2 weeks at a spa, and literally I'm like, ooh, that's really cool. But then, like, the true, like, loner in me will be like, and just like, okay, you know, like, once we start getting close to it, I'll be like, do I really want to go to this free 2-week spa? And I may not even show up. That's how much I really just like solidarity. It's kind of creepy. So I was just thinking to myself, like, all the things I could be doing, and I was thinking to myself, like, oh my gosh, Chinyere, like, stop psyching yourself out. You never know what this could turn into. Like, you really don't, and stuff. And I do like him, but I hate his fucking sister. You know, I don't know. It was just those things. But I ended up driving there. So even like the day of, like, the day before, I was like, oh, I told him, I said, hey, you know, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should just like wait until you move to Fort Hood. And he was like, no, like, we've already planned this. This is I only have 3 days off. I have to be back to work on Monday. So I was like, okay. So anyway, I think it was that Friday night. I headed out. No, that Friday morning, I headed out. I made it there at like 7 or 8. I don't even remember, but it was cool. Like, we got there, we saw each other, and it was just really, really cool. But of course, my period started. Our dumbasses. It was the end of the month, but it was a holiday. I forgot what holiday. It was in like September, November, or something. And of course, you know. So it was horrific. It was like, the sex was actually good, but the blood was like a horror movie. I was like, oh no, we can't do this. Like, it was so bad. And I was just, and the weird thing is that, like, when I started the drive, that's when I thought about my period. I was like, fuck, my period. The whole point of me coming down here is to make sure that this dick is worth it. And now I'm on my period. So anyway, we stayed for like 3 days, and it was actually fun. Like, we found shit to do around there. We went out to eat. We ordered in. You know, he took care of everything, and it was cool. It was like a mini, like, little, I guess, like, almost like a staycation, but it was away, so I can't call it a vacation now. And, you know, the room was nice. It was just cool, okay? So afterwards, we left, and I talked to him, you know, for a few months or whatever. We really connected because he went to Afghanistan. I don't know if did I mention this earlier? Okay, so he left from Austin. He went to go visit his sister, and he came here to go get his car and to bring his car down here because he's being transitioned to El Paso, right? He was only in El Paso for about a month or two, and then they took him to Kuwait. Then they took him to Afghanistan. He was in Afghanistan for a really long time. For about 3 or 4 months. No, he was in Afghanistan for 7 months. So that's why we were on the phone talking. And then we had, like, it was just a lot because our time frames were different. Like, so I was trying to, you know, call him when he had time. He couldn't really be on the phone that much. The Wi-Fi was terrible because I don't even know if they really have Wi-Fi there. Well, they do, but, like, they all have to share it. And it was really, really slow. So, you know, we still got to know each other somehow, but through WhatsApp, you know, talking to each other. We would video chats and pictures back and forth and stuff. And he really just didn't like it there. But I don't know anybody who likes it there, especially from the military. Like, your life is that. And then he had a really bad sergeant, but whatever. So that's besides the point. So that was that guy. He called me. The last time I talked to him was like over the summer. And then I talked to him, like, we kept talking for a few months, but it just wasn't really, like, I wasn't really that crazy about him, because I kind of was, like, he would always mention future things, like kids and getting married, like, but I just didn't see anything with him, and he was not consistent enough for me. So, like, out of nowhere, he just stopped talking to me for, like, a week or two, and when he would be in Afghanistan, he would stop talking to me. And he would say it's because he can't talk on the phone, you know, and they don't even give them a notice, they'll just take their phones. And then it was just other things that he was doing that led me to feel that he wasn't serious, and I was completely right. So I just stopped talking to him, and plus it was taking him way too long to transfer from Fort Hood to Fort Hood. El Paso is 14 hours away. We told each other we were going to try to see each other every month. that just didn't even happen. Like, so yeah, so it just didn't work. And believe me, if I really want somebody, I will make it work. So I know that he wasn't the guy that I wanted. So on to the next guy. I ended up moving here in December of last year. Okay, so I was here for a few months. I wasn't really meeting anybody, but for some reason around my 25th birthday, which was in March, I started just meeting guys. So I remember I was walking home from a food truck, and I met this Middle Eastern guy named Sam, and his food truck is literally like not too far away from my apartment. But where I live downtown Austin, so there are food truck parks everywhere, like everywhere, especially during South by Southwest. So I was walking home. I had asked him when is he open, because it was one of those days where my boss scheduled me to work on my birthday, so I called in for somebody to come work for me. I was walking home, and he opened at 7. He told me to come back, and he made me like a really big dish, and I was there for hours, just kind of like hanging out. And we just talked, and I really connected with him. I ended up finding out that he was married, and I was just like, oh, I can't even be with you. Like, I mean, I wasn't going to really be with him anyway. He was like 40, and I'm not really into older men like that. Like, I've dated a couple. They're just really not my thing. Like, I really prefer guys who are like in their 20s, early 30s. I really don't like guys who are like over 40. I don't like guys that are too old, you know. And I've had experiences, and I know that they're great to date, but honestly, with this, like, in this, should I even say generation, all guys are pretty much the same on the scale, like from what I've dated. So I don't want to date like an old dumbass. I would much rather date a young one. At least you're stupid because you're just stupid. You're too old to be stupid, so it's even worse. We ended up becoming friends, okay? So I had this bright idea that I was gonna do like a study. If you guys watch me, you guys know I do studies, and I was gonna do like a really big one and then try to invest in like a food truck or something. And he owns one, and he owns a very successful one. Like, he has employees. He doesn't even have to come into work anymore, really. I don't even really see him anymore, which is great. And he started showing me the ins and outs. He showed me the marketplace where they go and they get their food, where you have to have like a tax ID thing. He showed me, you know, how to build like a really good food truck, where to get the base of it, the materials, the cost, the startup, how to get, you know, everything, you know, just like the paperwork, the filing and everything. So I actually started like learning from him. But it was, you know, when we were hanging out, it was just so cool. Like, I remember one night, like, this is before, you know, I knew everything. I knew he had kids, but he wouldn't even be on the phone or anything. It was just so weird. He would just show up at my house, and he would have like flowers, and he would be like, hey, you want to go see like a midnight movie? He would just show up, and I would come out to his car, and like he would have his music just blasting, and he would come and open the door, and it was just really spontaneous. And to be honest with you, it was like romance, and it was something I was just severely craving. And I started to think to myself like, oh, but that's because he's an older man. But of course, it was some bullshit, you know. It was some bullshit, you know. And it would be okay if it was like bullshit with something else, like, I don't know, bullshit with a possible relationship or something. But it was bullshit, and he had strings attached. Like, I wish he could be on some bullshit but be single, because I would much rather deal with like romantic bullshit than just what I've been getting. He would go grocery shopping with me. Like, if I needed groceries, he would call me and be like, hey, do you need food? Of course, you're all broke as fuck, especially when I first moved in here. And I would be like, sure, you know, let's go. I would get a couple things. He'd be like, no, you need to get this, you need to get that. And so I would start getting it. He would, you know, he would just surprise me with groceries. He would come over. He would always make sure I was getting things that I needed. And that was nice, you know. That was really nice. And then at the end of the night, you know, if he had like food, he would always make me like falafel wraps. He would make me gyros and just like, you know, that type of food, a bunch of rice, and he would bring it over and he would put it in the freezer. He would pack it all up, and, you know, he would make a drink, and we would just kind of like hang out. So that was just really, really, really nice, and it was so different than anything I'd experienced in years. And the last time I had somebody who was like that, it was another older man, but he was on some for real bullshit, like some next level stuff. A lot of these younger guys who I deal with who are full of shit, like their stuff is very like minimal and petty. But a lot of these older men, they have like big level, like secretive stuff going on. So that's why I say I'd rather just take the lower risk with the younger dumbasses than like the bigger dumbasses. Less chance. Anyway, me and him, and then like one more thing, he would take me on like different dates. Like me and him, we would grab a coffee, grab some snacks from the store, and then we would go like walk around the Capitol until like midnight. He would, and we just like, and then he would like fill up my gas tank. He was just very nice, like nice little gestures. And I know obviously it's not all about money, but it's been so long since I've had somebody who actually tried to care for me. It was like, okay, something's too good. Just because, you know, it's crazy because I want to have faith, but honestly, it's not even about losing faith. It's more about just being realistic about things. I know that, you know, I know that it's going to happen for me, but it's just not happening anytime soon. And I'm not going to get my hopes up. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that I don't believe in you. I just know what's up. I'm not stupid. So, yeah, that ended up ending slowly. Like, one day I went to my car and he had wrote, "I miss you, see you later, you know, Sam," or whatever. And I thought he wrote it in the dirt because my car was so dirty. He came by, and I still didn't even see him because, you know, at that point I had found out he was married. He was still doing like romantic like gestures, and I would walk past his little food truck and he would say, "Hey, you know, come by," and I would come by and I would just like, you know, because it's like, I'm not like bitter or anything like that, but you were trying to sleep with me and you were married, so we really don't have anything else to talk about. I already know the ins and outs of the food truck industry at this point. You know what I'm saying? It was just more like that. There was just really not much else that I could do with you because you're married, okay? And then one day he brought his son over, because we were like, oh, we'll just be friends. And he had brought his son over and he was like, oh, can you watch him? And I was like, I'm busy. And then he was like, oh, can you just use your bathroom? And then he did number 2 and it was so stinky. Anyway, yeah, so that ended. And then once again, it was around my birthday. I had ended up meeting this white guy and he was super attractive. Of course, it was like way too good to be true, and I'm telling you why. So he came into town. I was working at the frozen yogurt shop downtown, and he stopped in and he was like, oh, hey, you know, I just got this new job. I don't even believe all of this, but, you know, whatever. He was like, hey, so I just came down here to apply for this job. I'm actually moving from like Denver or something, and I think I got the job, so I'll probably be relocating. He said that he had like a really, really, really good job, but then I think he said he was living in LA or something like that. He had a really good job apparently, and he was just visiting. So I thought he was so sexy. Like I couldn't even control myself. I was being so flirty that night, and I never do that, but like I was really attracted to him. So we ended up going out, and I was thinking, well, he has like 2 days, and then he ended up coming over. I never invite anybody over to my apartment, especially at that time. My apartment was so messy because it was very like unfurnished, which the other guy should have bought me furniture. And he still came over. He was like, oh, it's good. He's like, your bathroom and your kitchen is clean, so who cares? We came over, I changed clothes and everything, and then we ended up going to the movies, and then he put like $20 in my gas tank. And he was like, buy whatever you want. And you know, I bought like drinks, I bought milkshakes, pizzas. We were grubbing out at the movie theater. It was crazy. And we ended up seeing Get Out, and it was good. So it was just a really good time. Then we came back to my apartment, and of course he was like, okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. I really want to sleep with you. Now here's the thing. I had to be up at 7 a.m. because I had hair. It was already about 1 a.m. but when we had got home from the movies. And honestly, I really didn't feel like waking up to a stranger. I didn't feel like having sex at that point. And you know, I had to shower, I don't know. And honestly, it's very difficult for me to meet somebody and then have sex with them. It's so difficult. Even though I've really, really, really tried, I still haven't mastered it. Like, I've never just like met someone and then fucked them. I've never like, but who's to say, you know? I haven't done it. I haven't met someone, slept with them, all on the same day. It still has not happened for me. So I don't know. It's like, why even start now? I'm just not interested. So I was just like, you know, I'm not really interested. So he called himself an Uber, and then he went to his friend's house. So that was that. I knew I wasn't gonna see him anyway. We ended up going to like a bar before the movies. I forgot to mention that. We were just hanging out, but he had ADHD, so he kept interrupting me. He kept taking over the conversation. He wouldn't let me finish nothing, and then he would go to the next conversation, and he would go to the next one, back and forth, and then he would be like, oh yeah, so that was really annoying too. Okay, poof, next guy. So I was like, you know what, I'm getting myself back together again. Like, whenever I start doing well, I feel more comfortable with dating. If I'm not doing well, I can't be good for my partner. So I decided, you know what, I'm doing better right now, so I'm gonna, like, mentally, financially, like, I'm getting things together here. I think it's time for me to go online and try dating. This was like months later. I ended up going back to one of my exes, like, just for like sex, just because I wasn't getting anything on the regular. I hadn't had sex in like 8 months. Let me see, hold on. 6 months at that point. So I went back to my ex, and we had some really bomb ass sex. Like, I was there for like a week, just I was getting the choo-choo. So anyway, months went by. I felt like I was an established adult, a little bit better. And I was like, okay, let's go on Tinder, POF, whatever. Okay, I had pretty good luck on POF, so I went on there. I ended up meeting a few guys. A lot of them were guys who I had already dated, seen, had sex with. Well, no, not a lot, but like in 2013 when I first got here, I got on POF and I was getting flooded with messages. So 2 guys I'd already had sex with, so I was just kind of like, oh, okay, I've already, you know, and they were still trying to get back with me. One of the guys I ended up kind of like dating, and then I ended it because he was looking for girls on Backpage, and that was just like way too much for me. And he was East African or something, but he was telling everybody he was Jamaican. I don't even know. But he wrote me again, and then he wrote me years ago, and he always writes me. So I finally just told him, hey, can you stop writing me? I'm really not interested. And he said, okay. Then the other guy who had like lazy eye, who he's really good at, like, you know, mouth stuff, he wrote me, and then he had brought me some KFC. Guys, this was just really pathetic. Anyway, let's move on to what's important. I ended up meeting these 2 white guys on there, and one was crazy, and the other one, I don't know what the fuck happened with him. Okay, so the first guy, he was very attractive. He kind of reminded me of Wolverine, but a more like chill one, like him without the, you know. He was very attractive. He was muscular, and then I saw he was like a teacher. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, I'll give him a shot. He was in his early 30s, so that was like my cutoff point. Okay, so me and him, we had talked a little bit on the phone. We were texting. He told me he was recently divorced. He had met her like years ago. They have 2 children together, and that he was a high school teacher at Round Rock. And yeah, we just started talking, and I was like, okay. So finally, one night we were talking, and then he was like, yeah, so can I see a picture of you? So I sent him a picture, and he was like, oh my gosh, you know, we need to meet tonight. And I was like, no. At first we had tried to force it. At first I was like, no. Then we tried to force it. Then I was like, no. I said, look, just come see me tomorrow. He was doing like some, you know, some refresher courses at UT to be a teacher, you know, to keep, you know how you have to keep it up or whatever. So UT is not far from me. So he was like, you know what, how about this? After I get done with my course, I will come see you. We'll go to like get something to go eat, and then we'll just hang out. And I was like, okay, cool. So on POF, I was being a bit more selective, like this time around. Like back years ago when I would go on, it was just anybody who would like buy me Chinese food. Now it's like, you know, will you be compatible with me? Okay. So but even back then, I was looking for a boyfriend who would buy me Chinese food. Now I'm just kind of looking for somebody who I wouldn't meet in real life. It was more like that. So he ended up coming over. When we first started talking, it was cool. But I have like things on my walls, like goals, bills, things that just need to be taken care of. Like they're on my refrigerator. Just, you know, even I don't look at these things because I know in my head mentally what's there, right? But for some reason, whenever people come over to my house, I have to take these things down now, or I cover them, because people always start reading shit that's on my wall. They start looking on the table. People get really fascinated with this apartment. Like, I don't even know what it is, but they are. He was like, oh, I see you like to take care of your bills. Oh, you owe that much? Wow. And I said, whoa, wait. I said, chill. Like, give me a minute. Do you want to go? Do you want to go now? Because we're just hanging out here. And he was trying to hang out in my apartment, and I was like, no, let's go. And I didn't even do this, but I was really trying to try a new tactic with my dating. Usually, you do not come in my house, but I was really trying not to come off like super bossy, because, you know, being black, being a woman in general, when you have like a stance on something, it's very intimidating, and I'm really trying not to come off as intimidating, because I'm actually not like a super intimidating person, but I'm just very much like, I know myself, and I know how things are, and I like my space. I know this, but you don't know this, so I was trying like a different approach, okay? So me and him, we left, and we started walking over to the post box, okay? On my way there, he starts asking me, like, how much do you pay in rent? Blah, blah, blah. I know it's this. I know it's, you know, you could just get a house. And so I looked at him and I said, I was like, do you think that, like, I wouldn't want a house? Do you think I just like renting downtown and wasting my money? No. You live all the way out in fucking bumfuck Round Rock. Not that Round Rock is bumfuck, but the part that he lives in, I know it is, okay? Especially from what he told me. And you bought it years ago. You have a stable job, stable income. You were once married. Like, of course you would have a house. I am still young, trying to figure out my life. And if you're at rent, everything is taken care of. I really hate whenever guys try to put me down. They always do this, and this is why I really don't mind talking about money, but when it comes to dating, I don't, especially when you're dating somebody who is insecure. And I always end up finding out that these guys are like secretly insecure. Like, they'll come off as really confident, but really they're not. So he was like, so him saying that was like a red flag for me, just because you don't need to tear down where I live. I absolutely love where I live. I would not be here if I didn't like it, okay? Now, just because you think that I'm overpaying, and you think I'm overpaying for the neighborhood, or you think I'm just paying for the neighborhood, that's your judgment. But don't be telling me, oh, you know, I bet you're paying blah, blah, blah. You know, you could just get this for that. And it's like, what? You know? So we sat down to eat. I told him I was in school. And I told him that I do like social media for a living, whatever. And I didn't tell him specifically what. I just told him social media, because it's none of your goddamn business right now immediately what I do for a living. So he starts telling me he's a teacher, blah, blah. We go out and we go, first we went to IHOP. Then we went to Torchy's Tacos. And it was honestly great. Like, we had great conversation. I was starting to get really comfortable with him. We went out to Mueller, and like there's like a lake over there, and we were just walking, and he was getting, you know, he was trying to be sexual at the park, and I was like, come the fuck on, come on, you know, chill. You know, he started to get a hard on, but then the hard on went down, and he told me that he was actually a part of Islam or something like that. Not Muslim, but he was Islamic, and he had, you know, transitioned when he was like 17. And he says that he's only had sex with 2 people or something like that, or he lost virginity to his current wife, or something like that. And he was telling me that he can't have sex until he was married, and he was like, are you okay with this? And I'm like, nigga, you're the one who's getting the hard on, okay? You're the one. I'm gonna have to worry about you. So we get back to my apartment, because he was like, oh, let me walk you upstairs. And he was really trying to fuck. He kept telling me, oh, you know, I don't have sex, but I can do everything else. And I was like, okay. So I was just like, I really can't. I'm sorry, I really can't. And I forgot to tell you guys, this date lasted about 8 hours, okay? He got here at like 1:30. Oh no, this day lasted longer than that, 11 hours. He left at like 11 o'clock p.m. Okay? Me and him, we had walked to H-E-B, and then we had walked back, and you know, he was just really trying to spend time together so that he could, you know, so I could give him a blowjob possibly. It didn't work. So yeah, he ended up telling me he was offended because I was like, whoa. I said, he was like trying to take off my clothes. I said, we just met. He was like, well, what's the problem? Like, we're not having, and I said, no, like, we're still getting to know each other. What do you not understand? I said, no. And I was getting more aggressive because he was getting more aggressive. So he was like, and so he got embarrassed, and of course he left, because that's what men do. And he was like, hey, I'm sorry about that. You know, I just, you know, you're really attractive, blah, blah. He said, listen, let me just try to make it up to you. I'll come over tomorrow. We can hang out and try to get to know each other. And I was just like, I was just really not interested that much anymore. But I told him, sure. I didn't think he would come back. They always say they do, but they don't. So I just said, sure. You know, I didn't want to be like, no, don't come back, because I really don't care what you do. Next day comes up. He's like, hey, I'm getting ready to get out of here. I'll let you know when I'm on the way. So I'm waiting for him. He's going to text me and say, hi, a friend in the community just died. I have to go to the funeral. And the weird thing is I had to go turn in these papers because, I had just gotten rid of my car. So this was like late summer, like July, August, right? So I was like, oh, could you give me a ride? Could you give me a ride to blah, blah, blah. You're trying to fuck me and I need a ride. You know, so, I mean, if you can't even do that, you're useless. So he was just like, yeah, I can give you the ride, right? Somebody died, apparently. He had to go to a funeral, an emergency funeral. So I had just, like, stopped talking to him, honestly. But he would not fucking stop texting me. And because I had never gave him my real number, I gave him a number through a text app. I don't know if they're not connected, but I couldn't really block him. I had to, like, kind of delete the app to block him. So I had just stopped texting him, and he was just, and I think he knew it. He wasn't really texting me about anything. He was texting me like, hey, could you try to get my car from this girl? He was on a date with another black girl who just so happens to live in my mom's town, and he had gave her a car to pay for monthly. She never paid him back for it. She just took the car. He wanted me to get the car back for him. Like, we have some black girl connection where I can ease her out of it. Then he was like, hey, I'm really trying to sell these costumes online. Can you, show me how to do it on social media? He would not stop fucking asking me about it. And I couldn't block him, so I was like, hey, just go on this website, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, hey, why have you been so MIA? He's the one who would barely even talk to me after, like, his funeral. So I just stopped talking to him, and he got mad at me for stop talking to him. So he wrote me back on POF and said, yeah, you just like all those other POF girls. Because he had wrote me and said, hey, he had said something like, oh, why don't you talk to me? And I told him, oh, I didn't know we were still talking. I hadn't heard from you. So he got mad, then he went on POF and wrote me, and I wrote him back a nasty message, and then he blocked me. And then he wrote me back and told me, you need to get an education. You're over here, you need to get a car, trying to use me for a ride. And I was like, and people always do that. Literally, if you ask someone for a ride, they'll literally be like, you're just using me for a ride. And so I told him, I texted him back and I said, bitch, you're the one who was trying to suck my titty and you were trying to fuck the other night. And for what? For what? I don't owe you shit. And so then he was like, dang, my block's not working. I say, good. So I really ripped him a new one. I said, why don't you tell your weird looking kids, because his kids did look weird, the picture they showed me. Why don't you tell your weird looking kids how daddy is getting around and why daddy can't find a stable girlfriend? Why is daddy only dating somebody for a week and they're like, you're crazy? Like, I really was going after him. So anyway, that one ended. So for everybody that's always saying, Chinyere, you need to stop dating black guys, you need to try something else. First of all, I'm not going to do that. Not that I'm not going to date black guys anymore. It's just that it's like, all men, you just have to find the right one. I'm not going to stop completely dating black guys thinking that I'm going to find a treasure in a white man. It doesn't work like that, okay? Anyway, the next guy is a white guy. So, I was on POF and this white guy texted me and he was like bald and he was okay. He almost looked like Pitbull. He looked like Pitbull. And I was like, okay, he's kind of cute. Yeah, he was just like the one from January who had like blonde hair. He had like hazel eyes. He was very pale. He was pretty white. And he wasn't thin, but he wasn't big. He was a good size. He just wasn't really in shape, but he was very nice. So the first night that we had been texting for about a week, and then we finally got on the phone, talked to each other. We had talked for like 3 hours, and I guess he had been drinking, and he was just like, his words were getting pretty slurred on the phone a little bit, but I wasn't sure if he was tired, but he was also getting very defensive. So he was like, you know what, we've been talking, I just gotta meet you. Once again, I was like, you know, I'm chilling, and I'm not really trying to meet anybody, but he kept saying it, he kept being very adamant, and I was like, you know what, we can meet up, we can go across the street. He was like, yeah, I know where you live, I know that there's like a really nice spot across the street, and I was like, okay, cool, you know. He gets here, and he is drunk. I don't even know how this man parallel parked. He was so drunk. He was like, hey, like on the phone, he was kind of just like defensive more. He wasn't like super slurred. He was just like, oh, you know. But when he got here, he was just like, so I was scared. I had my keys, I had my cell phone like ready to press 911, just ready for anything. But he was nice. He started talking. He was like, oh, you're very pretty. Hey, you want to go across the street? And I was like, sure. But I was kind of getting nervous because he was holding on to me. You know how sometimes drunk people get very, very aggressive? He was holding on to me like this, and I was like, sure, you know, we're in a public place. We're good. We get there, and he doesn't have his wallet. And this certain place, you have to have ID to even get into the place, to get to the back. So he didn't have ID. And he just forgot his wallet. And I was like, look, let's hang out tomorrow. I said, you need to sober up. He was like, what? I'm not drunk. Why do you think I'm drunk? What? And I was like, oh, God. He was like, what do you mean? He was like, give me a hug. And I was like, oh. So I gave him a quick side hug. And then he was like, oh, can I come upstairs? And I said, no. I said, go home. And honestly, guys, I was really scared for him to drive home because he was drunk. But I did not want this drunk stranger on my couch. So I felt really, really bad. But I just couldn't have him in my apartment. Like, I just couldn't. And I'm like, if he made it here this drunk, he can make it back home this drunk, you know? And me and him, we tried to go for a walk, but he was really like, he was being very, very loud. And he just wasn't really making any sense, and I just couldn't do it. So he went back home. And the next day, we ended up talking and hanging out and whatever. And it was very cool. Like, he apologized. He said he was so embarrassed. He was like, I got to make it up to you. And I was like, okay, you know, cool. He said, listen, let's go see Jaws on the lake. And I was like, oh. That was just not something I was excited about. Jaws on the lake, really? And so he paid for the tickets. The tickets were $75 a piece. He just bought them. There were so many other things that we could be doing, but it was him. It was his money. He's planning the date. And you know what? It was nice of him to plan a date. And he was like 32. So I was like, you know, it's nice. Go ahead, you know, to do it. I'm not going to put you down. I'm not going to say anything right now because we'll have more dates, hopefully, and I can kind of give my input a little bit more. And it's nice to just go with the flow for once and not just go to dinner. Let's do something else. So we go, and he's like, so, you know, we plan it out. We go to the grocery store. We make tacos. And then we go and we head over to the lake. I put on my swimsuit. I did not want to go because, number one, lakes are nasty as fuck, okay? We are sitting in our big blow-up tubes, and our asses are just in the lake and the rest of our body's out. And it gets cool at night, and I don't like feeling itchy, and it's lake water. But I was really trying to be a sport. I had my hair out. I just didn't want to do it, honestly. So the movie Jaws had like comedian commentators. This is for Alamo Drafthouse, and if you live in Austin, you guys know how Alamo Drafthouse is. They're very much into like vintage things. That's why whenever I go to the movies, there's like a vintage movie like clips are playing before we watch it. But yeah, it was okay. So I really wanted to leave. I was getting itchy. I was getting cold, and the movie was really bad. Like Jaws, I think it was like Jaws. It was like Jaws 4 or 2. It was like the 80s or 90s version of it. It was really, really bad. So he saw that I wasn't really interested in it, and he was like, "Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, but not if you want to. I mean, you already spent your money here." Like, he was like, "No. This movie is really, really bad, and honestly, it's getting cold. I'm kind of getting itchy. But if you want to stay, we can." I was like, "No." I was like, let's go. Let's get the fuck out of here. You know? And he was like, okay. Yo, I was so excited to get the fuck out of there. My dumb ass was like flailing in the thing. because I was just trying to get out so I could paddle over to like the dock. My ass ended up falling into the lake. Y'all, the lake was like 20 feet deep. And my tall ass, my legs, I fell and I swallowed a little bit of lake water, and I was like, I got really scared. First of all, it's at night. We're in the lake. I just dropped through the tube to the bottom, and I was freaking out, and I was like, trying to get to the front, or trying to get to anywhere, and I gasped up from air, like I went, you know, and I'm trying not to make a scene, but we're in a movie lake lot. There's nobody else talking really. Everybody is just watching the movie. Picture yourself at a lake, you know, watching a movie, you know, and all of a sudden you hear, that was me in the water trying to get up, you know. It was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. Like I was really, I don't want to say it was so bad I could die, but like it was, if I had like a one car to get out of something, like I probably would have picked that over jail. Just kidding. So, you know, we ended up going, and he was like, are you okay? And I was really trying not to he helps me out of the water, y'all, and I was still had that cough inside of me, but I didn't want to like walk away coughing like a mad woman. But it was really bad, and my tooth started aching like crazy. Like literally the second we got out of the water, my tooth was boom 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 throbbing. So anyway, we got out of there. He got me some BC powders. We went back to his place. I took a shower, and you know, we went to bed. Now I didn't feel comfortable at first going to bed, but he made me so comfortable, and he wasn't trying to be all touchy and feely. Like this felt like a normal relationship. Like he was very 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 cool, very attentive, and he was very laid back, and it wasn't like he was just trying to show off for me and show me everything. He was very real, and I really 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 loved that. Like I was craving some realness, you know. He didn't have anything to hide. He had bought this little like one bedroom apartment out in Barton Springs, so he has a really, you know, cute little place. And I remember I needed to wash clothes, so he took me to go wash my clothes over there because they had like new washers over there. And I don't know, it was just very like normal. Like we would be talking in the kitchen while he would be cooking. Then we watched a couple movies together in the living room. Like it was just very like authentic. And then we had been hanging out for about a week. He was like, you know, I would like to come over if that's okay with you. And I told him, you know, that's fine. Come on over. So we came over, and we were hanging out talking, and he would play soccer, you know, once a week over the weekend. So he came over after soccer one night, or maybe it was during the week. It was like Thursday, I think, okay? So he ended up spending the night, and I was like, which was cool. We didn't have sex. I had spent the night at his house the night before. We didn't have sex, but he did keep trying to reach in for a kiss, and I feel like this is where I kind of messed up. Okay, I should have communicated to him and told him that I really wasn't comfortable with kissing him right now. We just met, you know, we just started hanging out. I'm just not comfortable right now with the kiss. It's not that I'm not feeling you, I just don't want to do it. And there's no time frame on when you have to do anything in my book. I do it whenever I want to, okay? So I just kept like pushing away because he would just be like going in for it, and I'll be like, whoa. I'll be like, you know, I would tell him, okay, not right now. And you know, I could feel him sometimes like inching in to kiss me, and I just, you know, he had did that like a couple times, and I guess, you know, he was feeling rejected. But you know, we should have both communicated, like, you know. And even like the first time he was like, oh, can I kiss you? And I was like, not yet. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, you know, we're still getting, you know, I really don't want to. To me, that's just how it is, okay? I need to hang out and get a feel for a person. We had only been hanging out for like 5 or 6 days. Just chill, okay? And plus, I just got off of the last crazy white guy, you know, who I was simultaneously dating. So, yeah, I just was, you know, I don't know. I just wasn't in the mood for it. It's cool, whatever. So, that night, he was like, hey, do you want to, like, do something later on today? He would always plan things, and I really liked that. And I was like, yeah, let's, we should, like, hang out tonight or something. It was, like, a Friday night. He had just lost his job, so he was starting a new job, so we were really trying to hang out in the meantime. He was going to start working at UT. So, once again, another YouTube guy. I was like, yeah, that'd be nice. Like, I'd love to, you know. So I was thinking, you know, I'm probably going to kiss him tonight. He is so great. so the evening came. He always would call me. He called me, and he was like, hey, let me know when it's time, when it's time to come on the way. And I was like, sure, So I called him. He didn't answer. Then I texted him, and I was like, hey, are you still... He did not answer me. I called him again, and I sent him another text, and nothing. And I never heard back from him. So I know it was definitely most likely because I just didn't kiss him, or something. And he was very insecure about not having a job, which I kept telling him it's fine. Like, he had a lot of savings, so I really didn't see what was so worrisome about him or whatever. But, whatever. And yeah, that was my last date in the summertime. I hadn't really gone out with anybody since those guys. So recap, we had the Nigerian ex-roommate's brother. We had the Middle Eastern guy who was married, who owned the Middle Eastern halal place. Then we have the crazy white guy. We have the white guy who took me to the movies. Then we have another white guy who just completely stopped talking to me out of the blue. And I wasn't really sad about it because I felt like I was just trying to be attracted to him. And I feel like that's what always happens to me. Like, he had a sense of stability, and he just seemed like a pretty good catch. Like, he would be on it, and I felt very comfortable with him. Out of all the guys, I really liked him and the Middle Eastern guy because of the way they made me feel inside. Like, I felt very good, and I felt effort was being put in, and usually I'm the one who's having to do everything. So it's nice when you meet someone who genuinely wants to do things for you and with you. So yeah, guys, that was my current recap of my dating life, part 1. I will probably just do a part 2 and tell you guys about this guy, this crazy guy. I'm just not in the mood right now to even talk about it, who I was talking to. So yeah, everyone, you already know who I'm talking about, Devion, if you watch my vlogs, which, hey, go subscribe to my vlogging channel. Lots of videos on there to keep you busy. They're long, they're videos. I was gonna say they're good, they're videos, and yeah. Anyway, guys, Happy New Year. I felt like I couldn't go without having this video done into the new year because I do not want to be talking about 2016, 17, and 2018. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for your continued support, watching me, all that stuff, writing me everywhere, and all my links are down below. You can add me on Facebook, MySpace, not just kidding, Instagram, Snapchat. I have 2 YouTube channels, and you can subscribe to this one if you haven't already. I will talk to you guys later, and I will see you next year. Bye.